All right, first and foremost, we give all praise, honor, and glory unto the Most High God, Yahweh, and we do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. This topic will kind of cover a few things. Somebody give me Matthew. Who read right here? Shamar. Me Matthew 26 and 41. We know there's like a Joe's doctrine. A lot of people believe in Nephilim, fallen angels, all that. This isn't going to deal with that as much, but ultimately, in getting this understanding, it's going to cut that as well. But essentially, spirits don't sin. Okay, spirits don't sin, and in understanding that, we're going to understand how sin manifests and takes place. Okay, your spirit is not what's sinning. All right, so we got to understand that. Give me Matthew 26 and 41. All right, go ahead.
Chapter 26, verse 41. Watch and pray.
Read.
That ye enter not into temptation.
That you do what?
Into temptation.
Read on.
The spirit indeed is willing.
The spirit is willing. Read on.
But the flesh is weak.
The flesh is weak. So you have a spirit, but your spirit is in flesh. So your flesh is weak. Your spirit is willing, but it's your flesh that's weak, right? So let's go to Romans 7 and 22 to 23. Your spirit is willing and your flesh is weak. We're going to start on that principle, and then we're going to build, and we're going to begin to understand the spirit and the flesh. Romans 7, 22 to 23.
Book of Romans, chapter 7, verse 22. For I delight in the law of the Most High.
Read.
After the inward man.
After the inward man. In his spirit, he delights in the law. Read on.
But I see another law.
But I see another law. What's that other law?
In my members.
In his members, meaning his flesh. His spirit wants to keep the law. His flesh does not. His flesh has another law. Read on.
Warring against the law of my mind.
And it's warring. You see that? Go ahead.
And bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members.
The law of sin means the law to sin. You see what I'm saying? To not do what's righteous and to do what's wicked. So you have a willing and righteous spirit versus a wicked and unwilling flesh, right? That was 23. Go to 8 and 4 in the book of Romans.
Book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 4.
Read.
The business of the law might be fulfilled in us.
In us, right? Read on.
Who walk not after the flesh.
Who walk not after the flesh. Go ahead.
But after the spirit.
But after the spirit, right? So after the spirit, that's where the righteousness comes. It's adverse to the spirit, right? So that was in 04? Give me Galatians 5 and 16.
Book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 16. Then walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
So as we see over and over in the Bible, we're told to follow our spirit. Our spirit is willing. Our spirit is righteous. But the flesh, again, is opposite of that, right? So in the flesh's opposition of the spirit, and the flesh being righteous, we know the spirit, the spirit being righteous, we know the flesh is then evil. So we know that's where it is the conflict. It's not your spirit that sins. That does. Go ahead.
17.
Salaki, that was it on 16? 1 Corinthians 15 and 40. There's going to be a lot. There's a lot of expoundment. Paul expounds on it a lot, as well as Yahweh Shai in the Old Testament. A lot of expounding on the spirit and the flesh and exactly how one sins. Right? Go ahead.
Book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 40. There are also celestial bodies.
Celestial bodies. Go ahead.
And bodies terrestrial.
Read on.
But the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another.
So in understanding that, what are angels? Celestial. Angels are celestial. You have an issue of fighting your sinful flesh as a terrestrial being. From earth. You're from earth. You were formed from the dust of the ground. That means earth. They're not made on earth. So they don't have your problem. So they're not coming to earth and becoming terrestrial beings and procreating with terrestrial beings and sitting against God. That's not what's happening. A spirit that is celestial. Therefore, what? They are not given to sin. They don't sin. We're going to further prove it. Give me 2 and 19.
Book of 1 Kings, chapter 22, verse 19. And he said, hear thou therefore the word of the Most High. I saw the Most High sitting on his throne, heaven standing by him on his right hand. And
so you have right hand and left. What does this symbolize? Who's on the right and who's on the left? Not in this instance, which is correct. But the Most High sitting in the spiritual world, in his throne room, who's on the right and who's on the left? No, this is in heaven. We're Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom is walking around.
You guys again. Good
against evil. You have angels and you have demons on either side of him, right? This is how the Most High takes counsel in the spiritual world, right? Go ahead.
That picture you see with the angel.
Yeah, the angel and the devil, exactly.
Verse 20.
Verse Go 20. To 23.
Con. Verse 20. And the Most High said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up Ramoth Gilead?
Yahweh has a purpose. His purpose is Ahab needs to die. Finish it.
And one said unto his manner, and another said on that manner.
So wants Ahab to die. He's asking the demons and he's asking the angels. How are we going to accomplish Ahab dying? One puts his hand up. Yahweh, we're going to do this. The other, Yahweh, we're going to do this, right? Go ahead.
And there came forth the spirit.
Here comes the spirit. Read on.
And stood before the Most High and said, I will persuade him. And the Most High said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go forth. Be a lying spirit.
So what does that let you know? If he's a lying spirit, he's a demon. He's coming to deceive people. That's not a righteous spirit.
Correct.
But though he has an evil purpose, what is he doing here? Yeah, how he's saying, Yahweh, let me do it. I'll do it like this. And what does he have to wait for? Permission. So he's an evil spirit, but he doesn't sin. But the Most High tells him to do. Bazak Bariyah. In Job, here comes Satan. Look, this dude Job. All right, well, you can do this and that. Well, don't kill him. You see what I'm saying? Bring hell to him, but don't kill him. Spirits are obedient to the word of the Most High.
Right.
As a spirit. Go ahead.
And I will
meaning there's not a fallen angel that's just disobeying the Most High and knocking women up on earth. Go ahead.
Right. And I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets.
So he's a spirit of false prophecy, right? Go ahead.
And he said, thou shalt persuade him and prevail also, go forth and do so.
He said, thou shalt. Yes, you can go now. Hurry up. Approval of Yahweh before he moved. Right? Showing you what? Them spirits don't sin. Them spirits do what they're told. Right? Go ahead.
Yes. Psalms chapter 78, verse 49.
That's what I was looking for. Go ahead.
He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath, and indignation and trouble by sending evil angels among them.
He sent them. The evil angels don't come to earth and start knocking stuff up. All right. That's not how an evil angel comes by the will of the Most High and at the command.
Right. Yeah. And the charge goes to Satan, and then Satan sends the charge out to the evil angel.
That's right. The demons. Right. Go ahead.
Verse 23. You want 23, right?
To 23. Con.
Now therefore, behold, the Most High have put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these thy prophets.
So these are false prophets. And what? The deceived and the deceiver are his.
Right.
He sent the deceiver. Who is the deceiver? This evil spirit.
Most High have spoken evil concerning thee.
He's spoken evil concerning thee. So now let's go to
real quick.
Go ahead.
I must bring this out.
1 Samuel 16.
Sin, right?
Okay.
So we're gonna prove that. Because what's sin, everybody? Okay. Psalms chapter 103, verse 20. Bless the Lord, ye his angels that excel in his strength, that do his commandments.
The angels do his commandments. Orders. He command. See, they're not on the earth. They're not, the spirits are not Israelites. You have to not eat pork. A spirit is not worried about the dietary law. He don't eat. You see what I'm saying? He's worried about getting commandments, meaning the Most High commands him to do something, he does it. You see what I'm saying? We got the Torah. They got whatever the Most High tells you to do, go do it. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead. Or that was it on that?
Yeah, just like calamities and everything that all the curses that came upon Israel. It's like, you know, the Most High says, I, the Lord, has done this. Well, how do you do it?
Yeah, he do it through spiritual, sending spirits for us to lose certain battles and things like that. Right? So go ahead.
Start from top.
16 and 15.
Con. Book of 1 Samuel, chapter 16, verse 15.
Read on.
And Saul's servants said unto him, Behold, now an evil spirit from the Most High troubleth thee.
From who?
From the Most High.
The evil spirit came from the Most High and troubled Saul. Read on.
Lord, now command thy servants, which are before thee, to seek out a man.
That's all I needed was 15.
Oh, sorry.
Come. Give me Genesis 2 and 7 now. So now we've substantiated that you got a spirit and you got flesh. Spirit does as it's told by the Most High. Flesh is contrary to the Most High.
Yeah.
Right? You said what?
When you get into the flesh, we're going to bring out the everlasting change.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Beautiful precept. So the flesh is what is contrary and weak, but there is a neutral party. It's like a proton and a neutron. I mean, a proton and an electron. The proton is your spirit. The electron, which is negative, is your flesh. There is a neutron that's involved, though. We're going to read about it right now. Go ahead.
Book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 7. Power formed man of the dust of the ground.
Made him terrestrial. Read on.
And breathed into his nostrils the breath of life.
Gave him spirit, right? Go ahead.
And man became a living soul.
It became what?
A living soul.
That's the neutron. A soul. When your spirit and your flesh enter, you now have a soul. You have a soul now. And this is where the war between flesh and spirit take place in your soul, which is also known as what? No, the spirit and the soul is different. There's a war that goes on in your soul, which we know nowadays is what? Mind, but there's another word I'm looking for. Your what? Conscience. You have a conscience. You know what's right and wrong. Your spirit is saying, do what's right. Your flesh is saying, do what's wrong. That's going on in your mind, or in your conscience is talking to you. Your soul is your consciousness. That's what it is. It's your consciousness, right? So go ahead. Oh, that was Genesis 2 and 7. Salaki, these damn things is popping up. Give me. You had some Azan? My mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me, yeah, R. Kelly understood this concept very well.
You're talking about Scarface, Ghetto Boy. My mind playing tricks on me.
Well, which Scarface also understood, but Bushwick Bill understood the best in that whole group. Okay, about his mind playing tricks when he was beating that pavement up. All right, but what do I need? I need the Hebrew. Strong's H5315. We're gonna understand what a soul is and what your conscience is, and that's where it happens. Flesh. I mean, you have your unwilling flesh and you have your willing spirit, but your conscientious, keyword conscientious, or conscious decisions that you make come from your soul, whether or not you're gonna follow flesh or you're gonna follow spirit, right?
What was it? H.
5315. So that's what happens. Your mind tells you no, your body tells you yes, but what you're doing is you're contemplating what you're going to do. Conscious action is going to be not an involuntary action, your conscious action where you say, okay, I'm gonna pick up this book. You see what I'm saying? That came from the soul. So go ahead.
That's that
Napash. So let me take a look at this. So it's got a lot of meanings, right? So it means soul, yourself, right? Your life, creature, person, appetite, mind, living being, desire, emotion, or passion. That all is coming from your conscious, or what some will call your mind. Your desire, your emotion, your passion, or your appetite. that which breathes, the breathing substance or being, soul, the inner man, being of man, right? It also means the seat of the appetites, the seat of emotions and passions, or the activity or the activity of the character. So that activity that's going on in your mind, or that activity that makes up your character, that's your conscience. You see what I'm saying? So that's what happens when the soul enters the flesh. It gets a conscience. Those spirits that were up and the Most High gave a counsel with, they're not terrestrial. They don't have a conscience. They ask the Most High, and the Most High tells them what to do. Or sometimes they don't ask the Most High just tells them what to do, and they just instantly do it. You have that ability because you have a spirit. What hinders your ability to do that is your flesh. So then there's that neutral ground, which is the conscience, where you either choose to follow flesh or follow spirit. You got that for me?
Which one?
Everlasting change. I go right into it.
Jude. It's no chapter. It's just one chapter. So I'll say verse 6. It says, which kept not their first estate.
Wait a minute. The angels now. Who are these angels? Israelites. Boom.
But what's their first estate?
Sons of God.
Huh?
Sons of God
before we fell.
But in a bodily sense, it's extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
We were created
pre-flood.
Yeah, pre-flood, extraterrestrial.
900-year-old guys. You see what I'm saying? Them guys.
But left their own habitation.
And we were kicked out of the garden. Right? Go ahead.
He hath reserved an everlasting change.
And he had reserved an everlasting. What are the everlasting change? Your sinful flesh. This is a chain to you. I don't know if you know that or not. All right. You should know that every time you break your damn neck, every time a half decent looking woman walk down the street, you just, oh my God. Yeah, you should know this is a chain, brother.
What's that scripture where Paul says, "I'm in bondage to my flesh"?
That's a Romans 7.
Yeah, that's literally the equivalent to everlasting change. Under darkness unto the judgment of the great day.
And then after that, after the great judgment that's coming, we're going to be freed from these everlasting chains, full flesh, and we're going to be given that spirit to where it's our nature now. That's what the new covenant is about, right? So let me give me Strong's G 5590, because the Greek word for soul also sheds some more light on it as well. So Strong's G 5590. Psyche. Your psyche. We all know what a psyche is. Great many names for some of the stuff that's the exact same thing. Your psyche, your conscious, your mind. It's all the same damn thing. All right. Let's get James 1 and 12. Let's get James 1 and 12 to 15. You have something, Zanagaria? All right.
Con. Book of James, chapter 1. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation. For when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life.
Your flesh is going to be tempted. Your flesh is going to be tried. But when you make the conscientious decision with your soul or through your conscience to follow spirit over flesh, you have passed the trial and successfully will obtain the crown of life. Read on.
Con, which the Lord hath promised him.
Go ahead.
Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of the Most High.
Read on.
Not be tempted with evil, neither tempted he any man.
That's right, because your spirit is willing. All you have to do is just follow your spirit. You just have to make the decision to follow spirit. If you don't, that's your own damn fault. You played yourself. You tempted yourself. You played a game with yourself. You see what I'm saying? And we know that. And our people, our brothers, do this all the time. You know damn good and well you shouldn't be doing something, and you just do it anyway. That's the life of a Black and Hispanic man, right? You know you should have went to school,
right?
But you're just on the block hanging out. You see what I'm saying? That got you nothing. But you said, I just didn't want to go to school. I know I should have went, but I just didn't want to go. right? Go ahead. That's how we live our lives. You tempted yourself. You woke up, you didn't want to go. Wasn't no real temptation. You invented temptation, right? Go ahead.
Verse 14. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust.
Of his own lust. That's where your flesh is at. Your flesh draws you away. And then it sways your conscience to do things it shouldn't. Go ahead. Make decisions it shouldn't. Go ahead.
When he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed.
Read on.
Then when lust have conceived.
When lust have conceived. This is an important thing. When lust hath conceived. Hold that. Give me Strong G 48:15. Let's talk about lust conceiving. What does that mean when lust has conceived?
Come on. It says, you got it?
Yeah. It means to seize, take one as a prisoner. When lust takes you into your everlasting chains, you let lust take you, meaning you let your flesh take you, breaking loose and being liberated from those chains through following the Spirit that the Most High put in you that's willing, right? Go ahead.
You're being a spiritual man,
not a carnal man. Go ahead.
Then when lust have conceived,
when it takes you prisoner, read on.
It bringeth forth sin.
Because it's now in your conscience, in your mind. It's conceived, and that when it takes you, it brings forth sin because you now make the decision to. And here comes sin. Go ahead.
And sin, when it is finished,
after you've done sinning, read on.
Bringeth forth death.
You die because you lost the fight between your flesh and your spirit in your conscience. Let's go to that's it on that.
Con.
Okay, let's go to Galatians 5:17. We read 16 a minute ago. We're gonna read 17 now.
Con. Book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 17. Lusteth against the spirit.
The flesh lusteth against the spirit. That's that constant conflict and war that your soul is the mediator for, or your conscience is the mediator for. Go ahead.
And the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would.
Ye would, meaning your spirit wants you to be righteous, overpowering the counsel of your conscience. So then what happens? You become wicked. You do things that are wicked. You sin. All right, that's it on that. Habakkuk 2 and 4. This is to the point, like the brother brought up about Esau, right? So even the other nations have spirits. If you read, matter of fact, give me Wisdom of Solomon real quick. I want to say it's like 13 and 1. That isn't it. Maybe it's not 12. I know it's not 12.
What's the
Let's see. The Holy Spirit being in all things. Right there. 12 and 1. It's 12 and 1. Salakia.
God. It's Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, verse 1. For thine incorruptible spirit is in all things.
Thy incorruptible spirit is in all things, right? Nothing can be living if it doesn't have the incorruptible spirit of the Most High in it.
Right.
But read Habakkuk 2 and 4. Okay.
Book of Habakkuk.
All things, Doc.
2 verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up.
His soul, read.
Is not upright in him.
That's what Esau and the other nations. Their soul, their conscience is crooked.
Right.
We got a neutral conscience that will, we could go one way or the other. They got a crooked conscience. Their whole life is about hedonism and following the flesh.
Right. Right.
We, the Most High, has programmed us to have a spirit that, we make different choices, and many of us fall and make the wrong choices. But the will to actually want to make the right choices is there. They don't have that will. Their will is to be evil. All right, and we can see that every day in their works. Right. So go ahead.
Right. If you're a Jake, what your parents always used to tell you, you know better.
Yeah, you know better. You know better. Kind exactly.
Behold,
spirit.
Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith.
And by living by faith, you living totally by the Spirit. Faith is not established by any fleshly standards. It's only established through a spiritual standard, right?
God.
So let's go to 2 Corinthians 10:5.
Book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 5. Casting down imagination.
Read on.
And every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of the Most High.
Wait a minute. Where you imagine things? In your conscience, right? Go ahead.
And bringing into captivity.
Bringing into captivity. Now read on.
Every thought.
Every thought. Those thoughts that occur in your conscience that are coming from your flesh, you bring it into captivity. By Hashem Yahushua. And then what? Then the Spirit wins that war. Spirit wins that battle, right? So go ahead.
And bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of the Hamashiach.
You see that? Plain and simple. When those thoughts come that your spirit gives you into your conscience, your job is to bring that and subdue that thought by Hashem Yahushua through your spirit, through the Holy Spirit that's in you. And then by doing that again, you win the battle, you win the war. You transcend your flesh through your spirit. All right, because your spirit is willing to be righteous all the time. It's your flesh that has another plan and other ideas. Plain and simple. All right. So
that's why we did that video a while back. Sin starts in the mind.
Boom. Starts right there in the mind. That was a beautiful video.
Starts in the mind.
It all starts in the mind. Your flesh draws yourself back through being just weak. You understand what I'm saying? So
that's
go ahead.
That one, whenever they came to the cab, he kept saying, "The law is weak. The law is
no, your flesh. You're calling the law weak, but you can't keep it. If the law is so weak, how come you can't keep the law? How come you're having such a hard time from putting a razor on your damn face when it's tearing your face up and giving you razor bumps? You got a hard time giving yourself razor bumps. That's insane. Right? But I'm crazy. And the law is just weak. No, you're weak.